So we're going to have a first here at GSD Factor Podcast. I would love for you to guide me and the listeners through a little meditation.
All right, I definitely will. So if you're listening, just get comfortable, lean back. Don't do this if you're driving, though. Just get really comfortable. If you are in a space where you can close your eyes or find a soft gaze towards the ground, come into a space where you're still. Together, we will take a big breath in through the nose. And I want you to imagine filling your lungs, your chest up like a balloon with air. And then exhale, just sigh it out of your mouth. 2 more of those. Again, breathing in through the nose. Imagine filling the lungs, the chest up like a balloon with air. And then exhale, sigh it out, let it go. And if you start to feel any tightness in the jaw area, maybe you move the tongue around in circles in one direction and then the other, loosening up the face muscles. We carry a lot of stress and tension in our face. So last one, we're breathing in, filling up the lungs, the chest like a balloon with air. Taking one more sip of air and hold. And then we exhale, we release, we let go of any and all things that are not serving us in this moment. And then I want you to start to scan the body, starting with the soles of the feet, all the way to the crown of the head. From the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Bringing our awareness to the soles of the feet, relaxing the toes, the ankles, allowing the legs, the knees to relax. Together we breathe in. On the exhale, the thighs melt into the chair. And again, we allow our minds to direct the breath, and we breathe in, filling up the belly, the ribs, the chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. The arms, the shoulders, wrists, hands and fingers are all soft. The face is relaxed. The jaw, the forehead is relaxed. The mind is relaxed. The body is relaxed. Again, breathing in, belly, ribs, chest, and hold. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Together, we take the biggest, fullest inhale that we've taken all day long, holding at the top. Taking one more sip of air and hold. And then exhale, release, let go. Maybe you let the chin fall to the chest and start to blink the eyes open. And when you're ready, just allowing the head to come back to neutral.
On today's episode of the GSD Factor podcast, I'm excited to have Ashley Brooke James. Hi, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, Ashley, I'm excited for our conversation for a number of reasons. But I first want you to share with our listeners today a little bit about your story.
All right. Well, I am, as she said, I'm Ashley Brooke James. I'm one of the co-founders of TRILUNA. We are a wellness company that specializes in event experiences and enhancements for corporate meetings, conferences, and retreats. We got into this business because we both, my business partner Elizabeth and I, when we were working our corporate jobs, the word burnout wasn't a um, commonly used word. And during that time, what we realized is that we lacked resources to help support our mental well-being. Most only things that we had, available to us were these flashy gyms that, was really more focused on the physical. And I personally was suffering from chronic migraines due to stress, to the point that I was leaving work early. I was having to skip work for long periods of time just because I wasn't able to properly function. And so I found those resources on my own, one being yoga. It really gave me an opportunity to practice stillness in a very fast paced environment. And I loved it so much. And I also realized during that time that I was the only Black or brown woman in this space. And so I decided to get my first yoga certification, not only to advance my skills, but to be of representation, to show other women of color that this is a space for us. And so when I met Elizabeth during my second yoga teaching certification, Elizabeth was experiencing the same type of burnout that I was, but where I lacked that diversity piece, she lacked the diversity in body shapes. She speaks openly about this, but she has suffered from eating disorders. And so we wanted to create safe spaces for everyone in the wellness space who felt like what traditional wellness was being represented to be able to create a safe space. And we, in the beginning of our business, we really did both sides. We provided community classes, and then we provided corporate classes. And then COVID happened, which was our second year of business. And pre-COVID, it was really hard to convince corporations why it was so important to have these resources. And all community things, as you know, kind of fell off. So we really had to focus on how do we bring this in the corporate space in such a pivotal time? And we didn't really have to try that hard because during this time, we became the subject matter experts and people really leaned in towards us. Fast forward to today, because of the work dynamics have changed and people are working from home and people travel, we realized that these conferences and meetings and retreats are happening month after month. And we wanted to be a part of that because people are looking for wellness and we wanted them to think of us first. And where it was really kind of movement focused in the beginning, just due to our yoga backgrounds, we have diversified our wellness programming. So it's everything from movement to experiences like mobile massages. We also feel like some people's wellness is like working with their hands. So we have flower bouquet making classes, guided meditation walks. So it's just a variety of resources. And it gives us an opportunity to work with other wellness professionals and bring them into spaces that they necessarily probably wouldn't have had opportunities for before.
I love that on so many levels because you've talked about a lot of life pivots, right? As you were going through your careers, you were faced with a hurdle, you paused, you evaluated, you pivoted, you relaunched. And what first started TRILUNA has now pivoted into other areas. And I think that diversity of wellness is so important. And I think that I think that COVID certainly was a catalyst for a lot of different areas. And I'm so proud of you all for leaning into those moments, right? And saying, okay, we're not going to stop. We're going to pivot and we're going to reinvent ourselves in this new and different way. And the first time that I got to see you, hear you all experience what you do was at the Girls in Tech conference back in 23 in Nashville. And then I got to see and hear you guys at the TEDx Nashville Women's event. And throughout these last 6 to 12 months, it's just been so much fun to see you all at these various events. And you guys are really planting those seeds here in the Nashville area. And I think that's amazing. And I think that it's so needed for our community, but also like as you guys are traveling, I think it's important to, for those opportunities out there too. But I think for Nashville, I think leaning in and becoming a part of the community is amazing, and hats off to you all. Because I think we forget sometimes how Nashville still needs wellness, and Nashville still needs a lot of the things that we provide, those of us in these, as entrepreneurs and founders, and the things that we do. And I think sometimes we go, oh, I have to look outside of Nashville, but I think looking into Nashville has been a really fun experience. And I love seeing you all in those different lights. So let's talk about, for Ashley Brooke James, when you are living this beautiful life, and as you are helping and ushering other women into wellness and into their more peaceful states, what I like to call work-life family integration or harmony of life. Talk to us about what it means for you as you live this life of confidence and influence.
I first think before you can live a life of confidence and influence, it takes a lot of intention. And what I mean by that is being intentional about all the areas that you just mentioned. And 2023, after coming off of the world being disrupted, losing one of my first parents, I literally was in a space where I was like, I need to do something, because just like everyone else, I experienced, different phases of depression during that time when the world was changing. And then you could only imagine what it felt like to go through losing a parent. And so I felt a little stagnant in myself, in the business. And so I was like, I need to inspire myself like I inspire the world. And in order for me to step into this space that I'm being led to, I need to really practice what I'm preaching. And last year was all about that. I invested in myself as far as like professional development. I took a master class, and it really helped set me up to identify myself as a person outside of my business. And I think that that's one key thing for a lot of business owners, is that we then allow our business to become our identity. And I didn't want that, because my business is only just one business that I have right now, because there will be multiple. And so I needed to start creating a life of intention to be able to handle everything that I was wanting to create. And so every month it became a thing that I was intentional about my finances. It was me going every week, having weekly finances, looking at everything up close and personal, even if it scared me, because, as entrepreneurs, it's up and down and up and down, and sometimes just flat. And so I had to be intentional about that. I had to be intentional about my marriage. 7 years in, and anybody that's been married will say that 7-year mark is like a redefining moment, because people are growing and you're not the same individuals. And it's like how do we grow and still grow together? So it had to be a lot of intention around that. Also had to be a lot of intention on where I was spending my time and who I was allowing to take up energy from me. And a lot of boundaries were set where I thought I had boundaries before. I really had to get firm on those things, understanding that because I was trying to do so many things, that my time was very valuable. And the boundaries that I set was not to offend other people, but was to truly protect me. And so had to get really intentional about that. Had to really get intentional about how I took care of my mental well-being, because I'm telling everybody to prioritize, and I was just kind of going with it. And it was just kind of like, God was like, you need to like really hone in on this. And then that spiritual piece, right? I had to redefine what my spiritual practice looked like, because that's something that served me. So I literally all last year was just about that. And through that, it gave me the confidence to not only show up in spaces, but be very vocal to people about my goals, my dreams, open up spaces for them to do that so we could collectively support each other. Listeners, that's how Misha and I got together, is because we were in environments where we came together, we told each other what we were trying to do. And now when something of interest comes up, we're able to tell the other and bring the other along. And that is the power of network. I did that intentionally because I knew that 2024, that I not only had to be confident, but I had to be influential, not in the space of what the world has made influencers or being influential means. It was influential to make women, especially women of color, to go after their dreams and what they wanted. And if they could have representation of that, then it makes the journey seem a little bit more realistic. And so that is exactly what I've done over the last year and a half.
Beautiful nuggets, especially for those entrepreneurs. And I hope that our entrepreneurs are really listening, because I think what you've talked about is you still have to remain your individual, authentic, unapologetic self, even if you, as you have one too many companies, right? And I think that that's some entrepreneurs, that's one of the mistakes that they make, is that, or bumps in the road that they have, is, oh, this, I have to be all in. I have to become the brand. And actually, if you have that separation, if you have that healthy boundary for yourself with your own companies, you're actually going to be a better individual, but also a better business partner. And I think it's the same thing in marriage of, two people come together, you still have things that you do together, but you also have things that you do separately, but maintaining your individuality is so important. And I think, again, as entrepreneurs, I think sometimes we forget that. And I think that having those intentional boundaries, not just for ourselves, but for others, is so powerful and so important. And it really, how many entrepreneurs out there have maybe tried and failed and tried again, and perhaps if they had put some more of those healthy, beautiful boundaries in place and and had those intentions, would they still be doing that entrepreneurial life?
Right. Because you have to, what people don't talk about, and thank you for recap. That was a beautiful recap. One of the things that stood out is, like you said, we get lost in that identity, and then it becomes work. And then we forget why we started. And then nobody wants to say this openly, but then you fall out of love with the business, and that's why it stops, right? But if you can find that separation, like you said, have this togetherness and this outside, you will remember why you started, and it will make you that much more eager to go after the things that you want. That is so important, that you have to figure out ways to re-fall in love with the business, because there was a time that I literally was like, I'm not in love with TRILUNA. And now, if you ask me, I'm so in love with TRILUNA. Like I really had to check in and be like, why did we start this? What is the end goal? Because most people will start, but like, where are you trying to go with this? And once you revisit those things and remind yourself, you can redefine the journey, and it's going to continue to change. It's going to continue.
So talk to us about how you plan out, and when you're looking at your year and your quarters and your months and your weeks, talk to our listeners about how you set those intentions and those goals.
Well, I'm a big visionary and I want to do a lot of things. So in December, I literally wrote out everything that I wanted to do just to get it out. Like that you have to get this stuff out. Does not mean that you have to accomplish everything in the next year, next 6 months, next week at all. You just have it there as a reminder of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. So this year I took a very creative thinking, mind mapping approach because I knew this was going to be a big year for me. And so I had to get it all out. And then I had to, once I had what I like to call my primary focuses, my primary areas. Like for me, for example, some of them were like brand collaborations, working more with some of the nonprofits like Girls in Tech and MPI, and wellness, yoga, TRILUNA. Those things fall under that. Speaking engagements, those things were the primary focus of what I wanted to do. Technology. Then to not make myself so overwhelmed by all of these areas, it's like, okay, how do I take these primary focuses and break them down to quarterly main focuses, right? Then it's like, okay, in speaking engagement, there's 3 different spots, right? Well, obviously, it's a quarterly review. So I have 3 months. So maybe I take one bullet point and focus on for 1 month, and then the second poke. So my life is very streamlined like that. And in those areas is also my personal. So my marriage, my friends, my family, the things that I'm trying to do with that is very streamlined as well. So I can be intentional about planning cousin weekends or, making sure that my husband and I are taking the time that we need away together, away from distractions, making sure that family experiences and trips are already kind of being planned out. So everybody is collectively in and it's not sprung on people at the last time. So I do that big focus, eagle view, primary focus. Then you got the Hawkeye view, which is the main focus. And then you kind of break those down into monthly focuses. That way you don't feel overwhelmed. You have all of the other stuff already out, right? You've written that out. It's not going anywhere. Now you have a map to kind of follow. And what I love about this is because life shakes us up and I can plan all I want. One thing can happen and the world gets shut down, but at least I have something, a roadmap to kind of bring me back to kind of maybe tweak, because the goals haven't changed. It's just how we get to the goals have had to pivot. But having that main primary focus really is very helpful for me because I do have a lot going on. One of my friends, I actually showed him this and he was like, that's pretty aggressive. And I was like, I mean, it is what it is, but like it has helped me. It has really helped me stay on focus, stay on track on where I'm going.
You and I have talked about this before, and I think you've mentioned it here, is writing it down, right? It's that act of writing something down, having that dream big session with yourself, and then truly putting a roadmap together, right? I talk about when you have this roadmap, you have this future state, you have your current state, and then what's the plan to get there? And I love how you break it down into that eagle view and that hawk view, and then you continue to go lower and lower, and it allows for those pivots and it allows for those zigzags, which is very much part of the entrepreneurial life, right? I think, and I like to talk about, not just the good days, but the bad days and the ugly days and the days that we want to just curl up, because I think as entrepreneurs, we are daily exercising our resilience, because that's just the life of an entrepreneur. But being able to have these, sessions and these planning sessions that say, hey, here are these goals. And I think taking, your exercise and aligning it with what I talk about around that now, next, later is truly powerful, right? Because that now, next, later can either be that micro view, it could be that macro view, but it truly gives you those, all right, what do I need to do today? Or what do I need to do tomorrow? And your now, next, and later can go with the flow, so to speak, from those different timelines. So you may or may not remember this, but the third time you and I met at the Girls in Tech Ladies Mindshare brunch, we chatted, and you said to me, no, she's like, you were asking me about my company and what we do. And you said, oh my goodness, literally at the bottom of my goal list for this week was.
I remember, because it resonated with me. I say these sayings every day if I can. Like, I try to make that a practice, but not every day. And that's the last thing. And when we met, I was like, oh, wow, this is a whole confirmation that I am on. I look for the world's confirmation, and you were that confirmation that, yeah, this is the year to get shit done. And every time I read that, I read it this morning, I think of you, and I was like, how convenient, because I'm going on the podcast today. So
I love it. It's fantastic. All right. So many beautiful nuggets, and I'm so grateful for you to be here. As our listeners know, I'm asking everybody, what are you powerfully choosing in 2024?
Before I tell you that, I have to tell you that my 2 words for the year is self-inspiration and self-power. And so what I'm powerfully choosing in 2024 is to self-inspire and use my powers to get to where I'm going. This is a really big year on focusing on myself and going after what it is that I want. And I don't think that I would have said this prior to yesterday, but I ran into one of my really good friends, and we both have been traveling, so we hadn't seen each other. And she was like, I am so here for you this year. Like, I'm so excited when you post. Like, I am here for this journey, and it's so inspiring, and it's really giving. I'm going after everything I want. And this person means so much to me that I was like, if they can see that in me, I have to own that, because that's me owning the power, my self-power, and owning the fact that I am self-inspiring myself like I do for the world. And that's what I'm powerfully owning, because I think as women, we can shy away from words like power, because it's like, oh, well, what's that mean? But power is actually a very beautiful word, and it keeps coming up, and not only these type of conversations, but in my sermons. So I know that this is the year for me to powerfully own my own self-inspiration and power.
Take us to church, girl. Let's go.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, I love it. All right. How can our listeners find out more about you, TRILUNA? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Absolutely. If they are interested in we don't only do corporate, we do small to medium group wellness activations. You can follow us on Instagram at TRILUNA_wellness, or visit our website at trilunawellness.com. That's TRILUNA. TRILUNA means 3 moons. The reason why we came up with that is, it was me, Liz, the community, the divine 3. The number 3 just kept coming. Luna is also moon, which the moon is very transformative. And so we are really trying to help people transform their mindset, their way of thinking. I'm trying to say that more, because people will be like, what's TRILUNA mean? And so that's what that means. Again, trilunawellness.com. If you're just looking for daily inspiration or getting out of your funk or some breathing exercises, you can follow my personal page. I am AB_the_yogi. So you can find me through TRILUNA's page as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, friend. Thank you for kicking us off with a beautiful meditation and mindfulness and being present. And I hope that our listeners today were really able to take so many of the beautiful nuggets and lessons that you've shared. So thank you for being with us. Thank you to our listeners. We're so grateful for you, appreciate you all. Hope that as you listen to this, you walk away inspired and energized to continue to take on this world. And don't forget to get shit done.
Thanks for listening to the GSD Factor podcast. If you liked this episode, please rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, where you can also find previous episodes. Let's also connect on LinkedIn and Instagram. If you're looking for more information on the GSD Factor, visit us at gsdfactor.com. And always remember to GSD. Get shit done.